First of all, I'd like to say good morning to my many friends, also to my many enemies. Once again, this is another episode of Roosevelt Sounds Off, and this is Roosevelt Sounds Off Part 54. And on this morning, I am coming to you with a topic that is trending in this country. For many of y'all who don't know, but you should know if you haven't been buried under a rock, that we have had two more police-involved shootings, one in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Friday, and another one on Tuesday in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I think that both of these situations are very bad and very sad, and sometimes I get tired of reporting on these stories, in this country, especially when it comes down to dealing with situations of black men being shot down by police officers. But in case you all don't know, on Friday, there was a young man named Terrence Critcher. He's about 40 years old, who was shot and killed by a police officer named Betty Shelby, who's a white female officer in Tulsa. Now, they do have video of that whole thing, but I also believe certain things in the video that he was prejudged on certain things, because one of the guys in the helicopter, I guess, the police helicopter, made the comment saying this looks like a big bad dude, that kind of thing. And as far as I know, Mr. Critcher was not involved at that time in any kind of like criminal activity or anything like that. So I don't really know how the police made contact with him. Some of the details are still kind of sketchy, because this is still under investigation. So the little bit that I have is that I guess his SUV had broken down, but they have it on video to where he actually, at the time that he was shot, actually had his hands up. So if somebody has their hands up, I don't know how come you could be shot. And I don't know, because he did have his hands up. And then on Tuesday, there's two different versions of this story. And on Tuesday, there was a young man named Keith Lamont Scott. Now, the police version is that he was sitting in his car at his apartment complex, and the reason why police made contact with him is because the police were there in his apartment complex to serve a warrant on someone else. They weren't there to serve a warrant on Mr. Scott, but I guess they made contact with him because they say that they saw a gun in his car sitting beside him, which, if he did have a gun, in the state of North Carolina, it's not wrong or illegal to have a gun, because North Carolina is an open carry state. So that's okay. And they said that they ordered him out of his car, but he came out of the car with a gun. And at the time, that's where this black officer named Brentley Vincent actually fired on him, end up, shooting and killing him. And the story that his children and the story that his family says that he did not have a gun, but instead he was reading a book, because they said he was reading a book in the car waiting for one of his children to get home from school. That's the story that the family and everything tells. But I feel that the Charlotte Mecklenburg police could have gotten out in the front of this thing, because there is video out there of this particular incident. But, according to what the mayor says, according to what the governor says, and the police chief, Kirk Puckney, says, that they don't want to release this video because they said it could interfere with the so-called constitutional rights of the officer involved, which is Officer Vincent. But to me, what about the constitutional rights of Mr. Scott? Now, both of these people said that they had, or officers said that they had fired on both of these two guys who were black, all because they said that they were in fear for their lives and they thought that they had a weapon. To me, I just think that whenever you're dealing with human life, you cannot afford, as a police officer, because I know it's many of you all who also, might watch me, you can't afford to make that kind of mistake when you are dealing with a human life. Because when you took on that job and put on that uniform every day and that badge and that strap on that gun, you know exactly what you signed on to do. So if you can't deal with what possibly comes along with the job, just don't do the job. Just find another career. And for God's sake, for all of us who are involved, find something else to do. Because you can't afford to make that kind of mistake. Never. Because once somebody's dead, there's no coming back from that. Mr. Crutcher cannot get his life back. Mr. Scott cannot get his life back. It's over for them. But yet it seems like more people are more concerned with the constitutional rights of protecting these officers and more upset with the rioters and looters in Charlotte for reacting to what the police department and the city government, their action. I feel that they could have got out in the front of this thing if they would just release the dash cam and the body cam video. Because if the officer was wrong, then, if the video would show that he was wrong. But yet if the officer was right and there was a gun or the gun was pointed at police, then this is something that the video would show. And I think that that is owed to us as the citizens of this country, and it's mostly owed to the citizens of North Carolina, in Charlotte. This is something that is owed. So that way, you could put all of these doubts and all of these suspicions to rest. Because we know in the community that whenever, something happens and one of us is killed by police, for some reason, even though the person could have been unarmed, that sometimes, I'm not trying to say that it happened in this case, but we know it happens, that sometimes this magical gun appears out of nowhere, and they say that they had a gun when the person in reality did not have a gun. But sometimes in some cases, police are known to have planted guns and weapons whenever a story comes out so it could fit their narrative. We know that this kind of stuff happens, and we know under the color of law that us as black people are done differently, and we are treated differently than our white counterparts. Even our young black boys in school are treated differently, because young black boys in school are looked at sometimes as being much more bigger, much more aggressive than, other white kids. And we know that this kind of stuff happens. And the other day I was watching a video from a fellow YouTuber, and he explained this whole thing so beautifully. I just wish I could explain it and break it down the way he did. He said in his video, because the name of the video was 33 minutes explaining why police mistreat black people. And the way that he broke this thing down was beautiful, because he went into the Constitution, and which is the law of this land, and he had found that it's certain articles and certain caveats that many people don't know about. The way the Constitution is written, especially the way the thing is written towards black people, I can't explain it like he explained it, but pretty much the crux of it is that we as black people, even though they said that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves in 1865, basically we are still not free. That's what I had taught even in my other message, which was the illusion of freedom. We are not free, and we still are considered, according to the Constitution, only 3/5 of a human being, and still considered to be not human according to certain caveats in the Constitution. So what do people do with you if they consider you not to be human? They will kill you and get rid of you whenever or wherever they want to, because legally they own you. That's basically how come blacks get mistreated, and we don't have the same protections and rights under the law as other white people, because when it comes down to white people, you see many white people on YouTube. There's videos out there of white people cursing out police officers, white people trying to fight police officers, and nothing ever happens to them. I mean, they even delivered a terror suspect who blew up a couple of bombs in New York last week. Ahmed Khan Rahami, they delivered him alive. They delivered Dylan Roof alive. But when it comes down to one of us, we are treated differently, even for something that is could be considered to be a minor offense. It's a chance that we could be killed. Why? Because we are seen as much more bigger and much more aggressive. And officers, they always get away with it because they always want to tell this lie, talking about I was in fear for my life. This is something that needs to change. And this is something that also needs to change about the perception of when an officer can use deadly force. Because it used to be taught that the only reason why a police officer could use deadly force, they would have to know. What I mean by know is they would actually have to see a weapon pointed at them in order to use deadly force. But now, according to what the law says, only thing that they have to do is simply think or perceive that their life is in danger, and that will give them license to use deadly force, and it will be justified. But us as regular citizens, even if we are in an open carry state, even if we do kill somebody in self-defense, we actually have to see a weapon pointed at us, or someone has to come at us with a weapon in order for us to use deadly force. We cannot go off of what we actually think. Because if we shot somebody who was unarmed over what we thought, just because we thought that our lives were in imminent danger, we'd probably go to jail. But police officers, they do this kind of stuff all of the time and completely get away with it, especially in this country, because I was looking at some statistics. Last year in this country, over 1,100, count it, 1,100 people were murdered by police officers in this country. But only 14 were murdered by police officers in Canada, and police officers in Germany last year, 2015, didn't kill anyone at all. So it just goes to show you this country, and it just goes to show you the spirit in this country of murder and killing. I believe in life. I believe in speaking life. I even believe in praying life. And anytime you deal in death, like police officers do, that's the devil stuff. You cannot afford to take a human life all over something that you might think. Because I'm pretty sure many of you all have been in situations, whether it be situations on your job, situations in your family, situations even in marriage or relationships, where something could have seemed one way, or you thought that it was one way, but when you looked at it and looked at the facts, you come to find out it was something completely different other than what you thought. Your thoughts could be wrong. Your perceptions of a situation can be wrong. And to me, you cannot afford to be wrong whenever you're dealing with a human life, or dealing with something as precious as taking a human life, especially by the ones who are sworn to serve and protect us. This is something that needs to change in this country, and I'm hoping that it does change soon. But right now, in North Carolina, the governor of North Carolina has declared a state of emergency. They're about to bring in state troopers and about to activate the North Carolina National Guard. And they're thinking about activating curfews. Basically, even though they'll never say it, but anytime that you activate a curfew, you're putting your people under martial law. I talked about that in, the King Alfred plan, how they can legally put you under martial law, even detain you, and it's completely legal under the law. This is all something that needs to change. This is something our government and police, who's supposed to protect us, is doing to us. And it needs to stop, because it does not happen to our white counterparts. I think that everybody needs to be treated equally and deserves the same equal protections and rights under the law. And right now we are not seeing it. So that's where I'm going to leave it. And I hope that many of you all liked the video. Give me a thumbs up and be sure to watch and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Peace and blessings to all. And most of all, may God bless America. Talk to you all soon.